Welcome to the Whitetail Legacy Podcast.
And we get the back view of him. And I mean, it's just a mega.
52 yards is a long shot. Magnum PI, what we named him. No idea.
Just a magnum.
Yeah, just a magnum.
Come on, Cam, last year, we said probably 150, mid 150.
Yeah.
Same doe from the morning come out with that 9-pointer.
Here steps out this 90-inch 8-pointer. You're like,
I'm like, okay, well, there's still a buck back there grunting.
Yeah.
And then out steps like another 90-inch 8-pointer. I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
Bro.
Yeah.
Bro.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm like, deer, right there.
Yeah, like
and he's already
yards.
30 yards.
Yeah.
He was literally 5 yards from the base of the tree. Could have been, had a buck down at 1:40 in the afternoon, back there deep on public. 3 does come out pretty early. It was like 245, 24-yard shot, sent to combat veteran, and I tell you what, man, dude, it just smoked. We always get so jacked up when the other person kills. It's just almost like we got it done.
Yeah. And when you killed that doe, I was like, hell yeah, man.
And we come down here to Missouri.
I asked Comey one more time. I'm like, is it a good buck? And he goes, yeah, real good, solid buck. I'm like, all right, boom. And the deer just drops. Sure. Super special meat.
Whitetail Legacy Podcast, bringing you back to the hunt and leaving a legacy. Baller Rut.
Welcome to the Whitetail Legacy Podcast, coming in your ear holes, and we got a lot to say.
Man, that is the opening hit different when I don't get the countdown because you're in control of the computer right now.
Yeah, you're like,
whoa.
I don't know what we got going on.
We're ripping.
Stuff's in my ear holes, and I like it. Serotonin's flowing right now. I don't know what's going on. All right, guys. Well, we are going to Missouri, like you've heard for the last 3 episodes. We're still recording, so we want to record an episode of we're going down here. We got a little history on this farm, what our game plan is, what we plan on doing, and on the way back, we're going to finish this episode, and we're going to talk about if our game plan worked, how the hunt went, what we've seen, what we would change, what we would do different if we could do it again, and then maybe some planning for next year. And that's the idea for this. I think this is good for us to reflect, and also maybe valuable for the listeners to get some reflection too. So
yeah, kind of go through our thought process of maybe setting up for the hunt.
Yeah. So all right, we're gonna get into people make this possible. We're gonna get into the show. Gonna start off with Exodus, guys. If you're looking to snag one more cam, get it ready for late season. Late season is one of my favorite time to run cams, man. It's so cool to see what survived, what made it through the shotgun seasons, the rifle seasons, what's still out there kicking and popping, you know what I mean? They got stock in there, and you can go in and snag one. And if you guys want some just regular content, if you haven't checked out their YouTube page, make sure and check out their YouTube page, full of awesome content, hunting content, informational content, whitetail cribs, they got it all. Right On Optics, guys. If you're trying to pick up an optic, they don't just have hunting optics. They also have pistol sights, red dots, AR-15, reticle sights, anything that you need shooting-wise, they have, and that's all backed by the warranty. So if you're wanting something that you know that you're going to have the rest of your life, you got your trusty carry pistol, and you're really secure with it, and you want something that you know that I'm going to have a lifetime warranty in case this sight messes up. I'm not going to have to try something else out because I can't get this sight fixed or whatever, and you got to re-sight in your whole shit of the stuff that you carry to defend yourself. When you can have something for a lifetime, I'm going to be able to consistently use this sight, be comfortable with it, and know that if it breaks, I'm going to get a brand new one guaranteed. So, you got Last Breath?
Yeah, Last Breath TV, guys. Hopefully, this hunt will be on Last Breath YouTube here before too much longer. But in the meantime, they just put out here a couple weeks ago their top 30 biggest bucks that they've been able to kill on film. And I always love that. Like, it's nice, short, sweet, a lot of kills, and a lot of big bucks. And, we're not the only ones on the team that have got it done this year so far. Matt just killed, Jesse killed, Grant's killed. I'm sure one of the girls here pretty quick is going to get on one. And I got no question Garrett's gonna get one here. As much prep work as they do for the late season, gonna be probably a slam dunk. So a lot more content coming down. Season's only marginally over, and got some bucks out there, some tags left to be filled.
Oh yeah, and if you guys need the Badlands code, looking to get some camo at a discounted price, go ahead and reach out to you. We can hook you up with that. And Black Rifle, if you use code Whitetail Legacy, you can get any product 20% off the website, including the coffee club, which I absolutely love. Getting coffee in the mail, I don't even have to think about buying it. Perfect for me.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into this Missouri hunt, kind of break down the property and how we're going to approach it. So we have a 150-acre piece that we're going on. Maybe 3 or 4 of it is the house up top. Not a lot of cover up there, the barn, stuff like that. We got 50 across the road. It's more dense bedding, more timberish, couple small fields on it. Then we got the main 90-acre piece. It's a mix of tall grass, overgrown pasture, couple food plots, and some thick oak cedar timber. There is some lanes cut, food plots, got a couple ponds on it. The neighbor does have some ag, which is a huge benefit for us being in southern Missouri. There's not a lot of ag, so we do have the benefit of there being a bean field that these deer do like to use a lot. And it's set up kind of an L where the property across the road is kind of like a boot, goes down. There is a power line cut on the very south of, or the very east of it,
yeah,
that I've always said that we should hunt, but I never have, and it might be something that we try maybe the second morning or something. Would be a really good spot to not get winded, and you're kind of like in the heart of everything. Maybe if we want to make an evening move, just go back in there and try it out, just because it's such a cool kind of. I've never hunted it the whole time.
Really?
I've never been
Wow.
hunted. So be pretty cool to go back in there and try it. But what our game plan is bed to food with the does, and the bucks are on the does. That's our game plan. We're gonna go in between the ag and the bedding, and we had some success with this a couple years ago. I shot a really nice buck down here, doing the same thing. The first 4 minutes of shooting light.
Literally.
Why do we move that evening? Do we know?
We had the gator down there, and we had all that shit down there.
We went and got the buck, and
Yeah, we just weren't.
we probably shouldn't have moved.
Probably
But,
not.
yeah.
Yeah.
Should have went to that power line cut. But yeah, the game plan will be go back to the same tree we know we can get in. We're going to hang and hunt in the morning. It's going to be cold. I'm going to have to leave pretty early from the house, make a move, get down there, get set up, try to catch these. The Mennonites have a bean field that they plant, pretty big, probably 40, 50 acres. And my grandpa's farm holds a lot of deer. So we're hoping that the does are pulling off and these bucks are coming back off this plot with these does. And it's kind of like a spot where last year there was deer just kind of milling around out there in that open.
Out in the grass?
Yeah, out in the grass. That doe was just kind of out there just milling around.
Oh, 2 years ago? Or?
Yeah, 2 years ago.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm hoping that same thing kind of happens. We got does out there milling around, buck coming to check them, and we can make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
Happened really quick last year. I don't think we can get that lucky again, but we got beautiful weather. We got a low of 27 in the morning, high of like 44, 6 mile an hour wind, setting up really nice to hunt. Got to go in there. We're going to have a lot of shooting. We can shoot a long ways. We're going to be able to see a lot of ground. And hopefully just see a lot of deer. We ended up hunting and seeing a couple more does and a forked horn, 6-pointer or something. And we got down early and kind of wasted.
Yeah, I think we got down at 8.
Yeah, wasted a lot of the day. So if you got a buck down, we'll probably be like, oh yeah, we got to get down there. But
I know.
we'll see how it goes. We hadn't killed anything that year, and that's why we were like,
Well,
we gotta.
I think the curiosity of what you actually shot got us too.
Yeah, because it was so dark. We were
you're like, you can see the rack sticking out of the grass, but then you get down there and you can barely lift up the damn rack because he's buried in the grass, you know? So the curiosity of like, I shot a buck with a half a beam.
Yeah,
you know,
I was like, did I just shoot a half rack? Because I've done that before.
Yeah.
I'm like, looked like I had 2 racks. But yeah, taking the 270, good out to 300 all day with it. Killed it like 60 yards, probably 2 years ago, didn't we? 65, 70 yards?
Yeah, 60.
Somewhere in there. Hopefully that's about where they're at again. They could be on that lane right in front of us at freaking 25, you know? That's kind of where we're setting up for a lot of the shooting. Going to be in a big oak tree. Lots of limbs. Not going to get busted. These deer, they don't look up down here for some reason.
No.
I'm going to have the rifle. Going to be able to wear all the Badlands gear because you don't have to worry about drawing.
Right.
I'm going to have all the warm stuff on. Pack it all to the tree. Try to get set up quickly as we can and have a good hunt. Going to be able to eat some of Grandma's food. That's going to be fire. About to smash some cobbler when I get down here. I told her we didn't need supper, but I might say, hey, we haven't ate anything yet. And she'll get something cooking here. I'm going to make that text message right now. So go ahead and fill in for me while I make this text message. Yeah.
So we did scout down here while we were hanging back in 19, and I'm kind of surprised that the way that Cody's buck came, he worked diagonally through this block of timber off of that bean field out into that grass, and I mean, I wasn't even barely got the damn camera arm ratcheted on to like that's how early this deer came in that we heard him in the timber. And if he would have just worked straight, he would have went right by that buck sign, but instead he just wanted to come out into that grass. And then that could have been potentially because there was does up there that we didn't see because we had just got in, and the way that we accessed that, we made a big loop and came all the way around. Are we going to try to make that same access in the morning, or are we just going to come straight down?
We might just go straight down. The wind's blowing us that way anyways.
Yeah.
We just kind of made that loop. I don't know what we'll do. I don't know. I just feel like the deer aren't going to be there while we're walking in. Like, if they're there, we're going to bump them if we loop or not.
Yeah.
I just feel like we made that loop because maybe we had a south wind.
I can't remember what the...
And we were trying to loop in to get in there to not blow all the stuff that potentially the does coming off the food plot and stuff.
Yeah.
With the west wind, we're going to be blowing back in there anyways. But I don't know. That's a decision we have to make how we're going to access. Because we're going...
right in the center.
Pretty far away from the house.
Yeah, we're going about as far as you can get.
Yeah,
and like what I was saying where that buck sign is Cody described his property as an L, and then just at the corner, the bottom corner of the L, there's also a clear cut that goes back into the timber, and that's where that buck sign was. And it's also a spot that with a rifle you can shoot, and that's one of the benefits of sitting at this spot is you got all that open grass in front of you. You have that little block of timber behind you, and the plot's just north of there. But then you can also squeak a pretty good, clean shot down that lane, and I love that. It's a little open, secluded spot. A deer can just come out.
60, 70-yard gap.
Yeah, a deer can just come out, be like, okay, I can see what's out here.
We did hunt there that evening, remember? Because we hunted there again because we had like 3 or 4 does come out.
Yeah. They did come out. Yep.
So maybe we did hunt there that evening.
We did.
And then the next morning we went across or did something. I can't remember. But
I don't
anyways,
know what we did in the morning.
Yeah, we hunted there that evening because those does come out because we thought, oh man, there's a buck coming because they're making hella noise. Remember?
So maybe we didn't hunt across the road. We just drove over there in the tractor in the gator.
I didn't think we hunted across the road at all.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, so we hunted there in that evening, and then we went home.
Yeah, and then we went home.
We didn't hunt the second day.
Right.
Yeah, okay, so that's what it was. We hunted down there, and we had those does come out, and they were being loud as hell. We thought, oh, man, there's something with them. There's 3 or 4 of them we seen that night. Yep. So every night we set, we seen deer. But, yeah, every time we set. But, yeah, that's just a good spot. It's kind of centralized, a lot of bedding around it. And with not, like, if we didn't have kids, we could come down here and run cams and make stuff work. But we value time with our kids so much that we don't have a lot of intel down here. I wish we could come down here and pull like 5 cams.
Yeah,
like we could make that happen. Like that wouldn't be like when we come down here in September, we probably should run over here and hang like 5 cheap ass cams, you know, just to put out and let them run and then just pull the data. And that would kind of give us an idea of, should I shoot this buck? Should I not shoot this buck? What's the class of deer that are on this place? Like, am I going to shoot this deer and then 5 minutes later there's going to be something
some
giant
gnarly
come out, you know? So
yeah, I see both sides of that. Like if you want to come down here and like, you know, really be in the game, or I mean like we're doing now, you're just kind of down here, we're hunting, you know, it like I don't know what's a good deer down here, you know, but like I know you've told me, but that's what I said earlier on the way down here. I'm like, you're gonna have to like coach me up, like, all right, yeah, that's in the ballpark here, you know. We're smashing.
I'll let you know.
I'll be out here waiting for like a 140.
Yeah,
you know?
no,
like,
I'm like,
nah.
I mean, there's good deer shot down here all the time, but like a 125 is pretty damn solid. There's not a lot of ag, and the reason there's not a lot of ag is because unlike the Midwest, Iowa, Missouri, it's hella rocky. Like northern Missouri, it is hella rocky down here, so they can't plant that much ag.
Does it have more? Is it more reddish dirt here too?
Yeah, it's not as rich.
It's definitely
very
not.
low yields, and it's so rocky that it just piss poor. I'm not sure why the Mennonites plant it. I don't know if they probably get. I don't want to speculate, but I'm assuming they get some kind of tax write-off for agricultural land or something, and they do harvest it. And they run this giant rock picker every year through it after they disc it up. It's ridiculous because they disc up a bunch of rocks and they run a rock picker before they plant. It's a lot more workload than there, but it's great that they do it. But like I have friends down here that kill 130, 140, 150 class deer, but 150 class deer is like, wow, like you shot a hammer. And they don't get the mass that we get for some reason. They get the width, they get the tine length sometimes, but they just don't have the mass.
Yeah, even your buddy's big deer didn't have.
They didn't have that thick mass, you know. And he shot that in northern, like north of where we're at. Yeah. So he shot that on I wish we could have Sean McCoy. We should have Sean McCoy on as one of the low key hunters. Guy is absolutely killed hammers. Like when I was growing up, that was the guy that was the dude. That's like just smacking.
You want to talk deer hunting? Talk to that dude.
Yeah, like he killed a 33 pointer one year, and then he went back to kill a buck to get a hide for it, or just kill like a big doe, and smashed a giant. Like just trying to kill a big doe, and killed another like 165. But he hunted northern Missouri, so north of us a few hours. So that the further north you go. Like, you get south of the Ozarks, the ag just kind of peters out. It's because it's too rocky, too hilly, too rocky. But my grandpa almost bought the 40 that the Mennonites have, but he ended up not doing it. But it's good that they got it because they're putting the ag in. That's helping. My grandpa does have some food plots. He is in a CWD county, so he cannot bait. You can't bait during season down here anyways, but out of season you can if you're not in a CWD county, but he is in a CWD county. So Missouri's shout out to Missouri's conservation department. They put a lot of money and a lot of pride in what they do, and they have game wardens that were patrolling. You go to Illinois, man, hell, you go 5, 6, 7, 8 seasons without even seeing a game warden even at a gas station.
Yeah, and like the CWD check-in station was like the real deal when we were down here in 19.
Yeah. Hell of people volunteering
so
at
many
it.
people.
You know,
had the whole damn parking lot lit up. You know, a great facility.
You could kind of see what the quality of buck was when we went there.
Yeah.
Like I had the biggest deer that was there.
By far.
You know, I mean, everybody's just down here shooting, and it's funny to hear all the shots opening morning. It's just like bang, 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 because landowner tags are, you know, rapid down here. You get a lot of landowner tags and just go to town. So, $2.88 here, bro. $2.88 for gas.
Oh man, we're slipping.
54 cents cheaper than us.
It's
ridiculous. But yeah, that's the game plan down here. Second day, if we don't kill, we might try the power line cut, dude. Let's just get back in there and get something we haven't done before.
Okay.
and second evening if we're not feeling the front, and and then maybe the next day we'll go across the road and hunt the doe bedding, see if something comes out of that.
Where the power line's on the main?
That's on the main, all the way as far south or far as east you can go.
Okay.
Yeah, it stretches the whole property.
Did not.
So we
make it
should be
over
able to
there.
get high and watch both directions and maybe make something happen.
Okay.
This would be a cool place to break out a decoy. I brought the horns, maybe rattle some. My grandpa said that he has 8 potential shooters that's been located on this property, but a potential shooter to him and us might be different. I don't know. 4 on one side was always the rule growing up, so that might be. You got 4 on one side, that might be what we're going on. But of course, he wants us both to kill. Grandma wants us both to kill, but we're gonna go down here, have fun, hang out with him, hunt, hang out with Grandma and Grandpa, eat some food, and like I said, maybe come back and try to do some summer work on this place. I'm planning on bringing the boys down maybe a day. Maybe I could throw some cams up then, or just give them the cams and the battery and be like, "Here, Grandpa, put these somewhere."
Yeah.
You don't even have to check them. We'll check them when we come down if you don't want to, But he might like checking them and running them anyways. So
They probably run it better than we do.
Yeah, I remember I got him one of those trail cams way back in the day with the D batteries, and he had a slammer on there, pretty good one, probably high 140 class deer. So
Potential's there.
Never know, yeah.
Potential's
there. So we'll get down here. We'll see what happens. We're gonna set up, and that's the game plan. We're gonna go to where we know where the money is the first day, and if it don't pan out, scout and hunt. That's all we can do. Bounce around. Always have that rifle ready to rip when we're down there.
Yeah.
Because you could shoot a long ways if something pops up. So, all right, guys. Well, we're going to hop off here for now. We got 3% on the battery, and we'll be touching base with you on the way home, hopefully with a couple bucks down and stories to tell.
Are you on the second?
And we're on the back. We're on the second track here.
There
I
you go.
added the plus button. Loud as hell in the ear holes going on right now. All right, guys. It is Sunday midday, and we're driving back. If you guys know what that means.
Ooh.
We double bucked. Bucked out.
Yes, we did.
Opening morning. Rifle season. 270 putting in work out there. Beautiful. Well, where do we want to start? Let's start it out. You go ahead and go first, homie. Talk about we talked about the plan on how we were going to approach this, what we were going to do, and got a little intel from the grandpa that made us want to go there even more. So go ahead and break her down.
So Grandpa's been hunting, and he shot a doe here 3 weeks ago, and then he just got an absolutely beautiful shot, like right off the, what do you call it, the front porch? Overlooking the property, and it's about a good 80 to 120 elevation change. Like, he's up on top of the hill, and he can just sit up there every night and watch the food plot, watch the couple of travel corridors that they got going to the ag field from bedding, and really just get a good feel for what's out there without even really having to run cams, and use that intel for daylight activity out there. And plus then when he hunts the food plot or the blind, so we're talking to him about what he's seeing, and he said that there's a handful of shooters is what we got told coming down here, and one big 10-pointer, an old heavy 8-pointer, and then a couple bucks in the middle of the road, and then that was about it.
Bunch
for the
of young
shooters.
deer,
and he said that the amount of young deer this year is probably the most deer that he's had on the farm ever, and so that and that's what he really loves about the hunting aspect now is having the property, and he's putting in work on it. He's doing food plots, he's keeping the trails mowed, and taking out some of the old thorn and hedge and all that, and really just making the property the best that it can be for a whitetail and turkey. And so he said he'd been seeing them at the bottom of this hill right by the house and going out to this ag field that the Amish had planted, and that he hadn't really been into the farm since he shot that doe, just trying to keep it fresh for us, which is super cool. And when Grandpa's doing all the work, he just wants us to come down and, like we've said on here before, have fun, enjoy hunting, and he wants us to be successful more than probably we want to be successful. And you know, like that's his goal now. That's the stage of hunter he's in now. And you know, Cody and I were talking about, you know, is one day we're gonna be there, you know, and for now we're not there.
Yeah, you're still gonna love the game. You're gonna love the chase, but you're gonna be like, hey, I got this buck, bid.
Yeah.
Telling your grandkid, I got this deer. He's been over in here working. Good chance if you go in there, you can get a chance at him, because you probably get to a point where you kill so many and you're just like, well, it's someone else's turn to
Yeah, and
to
you got
hammer
your
down.
own piece right out the back door.
Yeah.
So, as far as access goes, because I know I brought it up on the way down, we just went straight through, right from the house, right down to the tree that we hunted 2 years ago.
We were banking on the does being on the ag and everything, and they were all on it.
Yep.
So instead of looping around and kind of bumping anything that was coming off the north ag, we were like, man, we're just going to cut straight through and try to get down there early enough to where we don't bump anything off there.
And it's going to be about 5-10 minutes quicker.
Yeah.
Just to get there, because we knew we were going to have to beat these deer to get in before that they started coming back. One good thing is we had great temperature, and they were going to be most likely hanging around a little bit longer on the fields, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah. Another reason we wanted to go down there is the Pennsylvania guys. I guess if some guys had got permission on a piece from Pennsylvania.
Right.
And we were thinking, hey, if those guys go in, they're going to push, you know, some deer to us. And those does and that Forked-horn stuff did come from that way. So maybe they got pushed off of there. But we were thinking they're going to be in there. The Amish is going to be out there on the field, and that'll push everything kind of right towards us. And we'll be right in the middle there kind of waiting on them.
So we got set up, and we were just sitting there, and we kind of seen two does at the bottom of the hill where Grandpa had been seeing them, and they come in, and then we're looking up there, and two more come in, and then they start running around this big brush pile up there. And
Yeah, this is probably, what, 400 yards?
Yeah, it's a ways. And we're almost waiting for a buck to be on one of them two does, just as much as they were running around. One of them was a fawn, but the other one was, you know, an average doe for this area. And
Yeah, deer are just way smaller
yeah,
here
it's
than
crazy small
body size wise and rack size wise, of course. But
compared to what we're used to up
Yeah.
in Illinois, you know. So
we're down way south of Missouri, so there's just no ag. You know, they got a lot of pasture and acorns, and that's pretty much all they got. And if you're in a county that can bait, you know, then people are supplementing them that way. But we're in that CWD county down there, so we should touch on that at the end of this too, because
Yeah.
I think it's pretty cool. But
So does are filing in just like we got told that they were going to be, and you know, we're waiting out, and then a doe kind of comes in a little closer to us, and
oh yeah, right when we got set up, we had that doe right across the rip.
Yep.
Like, you're like, there's a doe looking at us. I'm
yeah,
like, oh.
Cody just sitting down, and I was like, hey, there's a doe over there, and all you could see was the white on her ears, really. And she come out into the lane there.
Then that's where you remember how small they look. You're
Yeah,
like,
that's-
God, that thing is
yeah.
tiny.
That's when you're like, okay, if this was Bosu, I have to really be dialed in
Yeah.
here. Not much margin for error right there. But, so yeah, we had a deer right there close, and she kind of winded us right there and then bounced off. But, like, with Grandpa not being in there, the deer would just literally bounce 20 yards and then just be chill again.
Just feeding.
Just feeding.
Never
browsing
blew.
around.
You could tell she winded something, and then she bounced back, and then just feeding out there. I'm
Yeah,
like,
cut right back through the corner of the timber for 15 yards, popped out on the other side, back to doing whatever she wanted
still
to do.
40 yards out there just feeding.
Yep.
Like, well, that's good.
This doe that was here about 7:25-ish, I guess. She was 80 yards walking to us, and I thought she was just gonna go in the timber and maybe bed in there, but she just got on the mowed trail and come wrapped right around the corner to us, and then
That was a mature doe. That was pretty big.
That
big
was
doe.
that was a really good doe. And Cody said that, hey, there's a buck. He didn't quite know what it was.
Because where we're sitting, the grass is like shoulder tall on these deer in a lot of spots, and then there's hedge trees everywhere, kind of like sporadically throughout this grassy, overgrown pasture stuff. and then there's big blocks of timber, and we're on a point of a big block of oak and cherry and walnut and hickory. It's got all kinds of shit in it. But I was looking in there, I'm like, man, then you could shoot pretty far into that timber behind that stand. I kept looking to the back thinking maybe something was going to slip in on us that way.
Yeah, it's nice and open, and with it being, majority oaks there, the timber floor is pretty loud.
Yeah. So you see a deer, you get to see a body, and then you lose it, and it comes back, and then once they get out, and my grandpa's made nice openings for shooting, and then you can get a good idea of what it was.
So this doe comes in, and the buck's behind her, and we just...
That was me.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah, my mic's turned up loud.
Yeah, I was like, whoa.
I think, is this the max right here? Is this what I'm going on right here?
Yeah. That does the whole thing.
Oh, is it? Yeah. Okay.
So I'm starting to get the rifle ready, and...
We don't have that Joe Rogan cough button over here. Side and turn the mic back on.
And this doe's literally 20 yards in front of me, and this doe's looking up in the tree at us.
She's like 10 yards.
Yeah, I mean, she's literally right there.
And we forgot to say, you're in a ladder stand.
Oh, yeah.
A double man ladder stand.
I'm in a kingdom up there.
Yeah.
Literally a kingdom.
I'm in a tiny ass hang-on stand that we put up, because I wanted to be up above him, so I put the stand up above him to film him, and then he's in this absolutely glorious. I get to spend about 8 minutes.
Got the shooting rest up there. Got the rifle leaning on it, and so with the buck coming in, I'm like, okay, like the doe's right behind the tree where the rifle is, so I'm just gonna slowly raise my arm. I'm not looking at her anymore. I'm looking at the buck, trying to find where this buck is, because we still don't know exactly what we got coming in. So I'm gonna be half-ass ready. And the doe bounces off, just like I said, another 20 yards, and then chills back out. And then the buck ends up being the biggest, at least 4-point that we've seen down here.
Yeah.
I mean, he's 130 yards, and you can see he's got a good, decent rack on him,
Yeah. Good frame.
Yeah, good frame. Going to be probably a good deer. And he might have had brow tines and been a 6, but, I mean, it was a damn good young deer. And the doe goes into the timber across the lane from us, and she's cool. And then Cody said, hey, I think there's another buck up there where that 4-point was.
Oh, we've seen a spike buck, and then we've seen a 6-pointer, a clean set, or another forked horn.
Mm-hmm.
And then, that's when I said, hey, there's another buck back there.
Okay,
right.
So and then you said he's going to come out in this opening, and I thought you were talking like that 4-point was going to come across that little timber patch in the middle. So I'm kind of looking over there waiting for him to come out.
I'm talking about like the opening right where the 4-point just came out of. Like I could see he came out at an angle back in there, and I just caught the forked horns here, and I'm like, that can't be the same deer because he's 65, 70 yards. And I think those guys probably met and then rolled past each other.
And see, this is like one thing that happens when you're in a new area or a spot that somebody hasn't been 100 times, and you're looking 2 different ways, and you're trying to get, like, because you're facing one way and I'm facing totally another way, so your angle and my angle is going to look completely different, and you're higher, so
you could see better out of your stand than I could.
So it's just trying to coordinate everything when you don't know exactly. Like if we went to the timber set,
we would know.
It'd be like, boom, okay, right there. But you're in a new spot, so trying to line everything up, and then Cody's like, okay, edge borderline shooter is up there. So I started grabbing the binos, and I'm like, okay, that's a good buck. Get the binos up there. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna shoot him. And then
he's like 125 in tall grass and next to timber, and I'm trying to find him on this camera. So
I get him on this. I get him dialed up in the scope, and I'm like, all right, are you on him? And you're like, no, hold on.
Hold up.
And so I'm like, okay. And this deer's like a fast walk. He's not just chilled out, but he's cruising. And I'm like, man, that's kind of a far way to try to get this deer to stop if he don't stop on his own, because I'm running out of real estate and in this shooting window that I got. And I'm waiting for Cody to get him on camera. And then the deer stops. I'm like, are you on him? And you're like, yeah. I'm like, okay, shoot. And I'm like, oh, man, that was a good shot. Feel good about it. And he just starts kind of almost bulldozing. tails down, head straight forward, and he just bolts out of there. And then Cody gets him going through the timber a little bit, and upon further review, like, we watched the footage back, hammered him. We're up there, we're high-fiving, we're jacked up. Got my first rifle buck down, and the adrenaline was real.
Yeah,
the adrenaline was real out there, dude.
I was jacked, man. I don't know what it was. Like, you drive down here and you put the time in to drive down here, and you'd bought the tag, you know, and it's $265 for an out of state, which isn't a big deal, but you're still like, man, I came down here and killed one. I want you to kill one. First rifle deer. Like, it's a cool memory to have. A memory that you share with me, you know, forever now. And
yeah.
And I was just super jacked. I could tell you were super jacked. We put a good shot on him. I could tell you were super jacked about that. And I was like, oh yeah, because I went frame by frame. I'm like, oh yeah, you smoked him. I could see the impact, the wave of the bullet. But that deer just carried the 270 like a champ.
He did, and deer's slightly quartered away. And when we got up to him and, you know, got to looking at him, shot just right behind the shoulder, exited out the opposite shoulder. Absolutely perfect shot.
Yeah.
The deer had no heart left.
Yeah, deer had no heart left.
It was in a million pieces.
Yeah,
and he probably went a good 80 yards.
Yeah, probably 80 yards.
80 yards down into the timber. We seen, so when we got down and got over there, we're just going in there expecting him to be, you know, like 40 yards away. And he wasn't, so we kind of regrouped back at the truck and was like, okay, we just need to find some blood, and then we'll just go right to him. And I got like 10 yards into timber. I was like, oh shit, yeah, okay, here, got blood. And then we were just walking. Nothing,
that was like a fast walk.
Yeah, nothing crazy blood-wise. It was just nice, good oak timber that you could have good leaves on to see the blood. And seeing him kind of either stop or stumble a little bit a couple times.
Yeah, I don't think he ever stopped. I think he was just falling. On the footage, I got him kind of falling on a couple times, you know.
And then, there he was down in the lowest point of that timber, and walked up to this deer, and we're looking at the footage in the tree, you know, and I'm like, yeah, man, that's what I seen in the scope. Like, it's a good solid 8-pointer, and we get up to this deer, and his left side is sticking up in the air, and I get about 15 yards from him, and I'm like, whoa, look at this thing. And his G3s literally comes out like an inch, and then it swoops around and does like almost a half circle with his tine. And then he's got a little acorn point on the end of his main beam on that side. And just a really cool, characteristic deer. And his other side is a beautiful 8-point side. Decent length, and the end of that beam's broke off too. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what this guy's
blind
been up
eye
to.
Too.
Yeah, and a blind eye on that that side that's
you got
a little
hit,
messed
hurt,
up.
or something on that one side during velvet, and probably messed it all up.
I would say he's been into something. Yeah. So a cool deer, and thank you for letting me go first and try to get me on a rifle buck, and goal achieved. And we pulled the old switcherooski in the tree again, and just like I said, we were so fired up and everything, and I haven't even told anybody. I just texted my wife and said buck down at 7:44, right after I got in the cameraman stand, and we're up there, we're still talking about it, and we're both shaking pretty bad, just fired up. And then Cody's behind the gun now.
Yeah, I'm like, I gotta chill out in case a buck comes in, man. I'm jacked up, and I was kind of making a joke about this ladder stand, like it was a double man ladder stand, and I was like laid sideways in that thing. I'm like, man, this thing is nice, bro. I'm gonna take a nap in this thing.
You'd be cashed out.
Yeah, you had the gun rest all the way around you. You couldn't fall out or anything. It was just perfect, and I was kind of laid back, and we were talking, and that was after we were high-fiving and loud, pretty loud, you know what I mean?
We were loud there for a couple minutes.
And then a doe, we've been talking about this cedar tree, like, man, we just need one right at that cedar tree to come out, and here comes this doe is running out. I'm like, oh, mouth open, running. I'm like, oh yeah, I think I said, oh shit. I was like, oh shit. Like, I'm laid down in the same pretty much, you know what I mean? So I set up, I get the gun over there. I'm like, oh yeah. And then a buck that comes right out. This is like 5 minutes after homie shot. Buck comes out, and I think I said, oh yeah, or
Yeah, you're
something.
like,
I was
oh yeah,
I was
oh
like,
yeah.
oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. And then he comes out, and I'm like, oh, it's a 7-pointer. And then he was walking across the grass, thick-bodied 4-year-old. I'm like, oh yeah, oh okay. I'm like, what do you think, homie? You know, it's opening day, you know, and homie's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. First I'm like, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I'm shooting him, and dude comes out at like 85, 90 probably, runs to 40, walks straight at us, and then turns broadside at 35, 40 yards, and right on the shoulder. He does the miraculous, how they kick twice in the air. I don't even know how to do it. And then kind of runs, and he's thinking, yeah, I got this. And he makes about 30 yards, and then he's like, oh, no, I'm done. He crashes, and 2 bucks down in 5 minutes, you know.
Crazy.
And my buck's a heavier horned 7-pointer. Body-wise, looks like a 4-year-old, especially next to your deer, bigger block your head, but
Yeah.
probably just a deer that didn't have a lot going on for rack-wise. And I seen him, I was like, man, that's exactly what we kind of come down here for, just a solid, good time buck, you know, where you're like, hell yeah, you know, nothing giant. And it was just the circumstance of when you get to buck out with your buddy 5 minutes apart, and we were already talking about how we wanted to get down and get your deer like 5 minutes after we shot it, you know what I mean? And then I was like, well, we can get down now. We bucked out. So we were super jacked up, and called Grandma. I messaged Grandma and said, homie just killed his first rifle deer. She's jacked for him. And then she said, well, how do you want Grandpa to come get you? And I said, no, we're going to hunt a little bit longer. And then 5 minutes later, I'm calling her. I said, yep, Grandpa can come get us now. We both shot bucks. And she was like, no way. I'm like, yep. And it was just like our plan. You know, we went in there on that corner where we had good history with. We knew the wind was going to be right. Deer coming off the ag. We kind of talked about there being late movement because
Of the cold temps.
And we're kind of just in like a little spot where if they want to be in that cover and go north or south, they have to pop out in that little opening somewhere in there. And it's I call it an opening, but it's tall grass and mixed with trees, and it's way far away from the road. It's way out, you know, it's way into the farm.
Yeah, a lot of great cover there, but it's open for hunting.
Yeah,
you know?
but they have to hit that gap to get anywhere from north to south. You know what I mean? So I'm thinking, and that's all it was. Is you caught a cruiser buck just cruising along that edge.
Yeah.
Probably scent checking that timber, and then I shot that buck just right off of a doe. The doe that came in there in the morning. You know,
because my buck would have been downwind of where all them does were in the morning.
Yeah, he was just downwind checking that bedding that he'd end up dying in and cruising that edge, and probably going to go bed, or probably not bed at all. Probably just keep looping around through there and working.
He probably would eventually come over on the food plot side,
Yeah.
check that real quick, because he was all downwind of that.
Yeah, but
just textbooks, you know, rut hunt, getting in between the bedding and the food, and catching a cruiser.
Yeah, and got him up there, took pictures, got to take pictures with Grandpa with 2 bucks, and then both of us with our bucks with Grandpa, and he's tickled pink. Grandma's, I don't know how many times she said, man, I'm so happy Ryan got a deer, and you guys had a good time. I'm like, we said thank you about 100 times. You know, you don't know what else to say. Like, you put all the work in on this piece, and we come down and just hunt, but that's what he wants. He wants us to just come down and hunt, because no one else hunts it really. It's just him and no one else, and he's like, I'll take it, a couple bucks ain't gonna hurt anything at all, you know. And it's really not. I mean, we seen 8 or 10 does up on top of the flat and that one small buck, and then we seen 3 small bucks, the buck you shot, the buck I shot, and 2 does, and we hunted till what, 8:30
till 7:50.
7:50.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And we seen that many deer. It's just goes to show you, if you got property that you ain't pressuring and you're in a high deer density area like he is, there's a lot of deer in there, and we didn't bump anything going in. And if I'm coming back down, I'm like, well, I want to go to that ladder stand in the corner, Grandpa. I kind of like that place, you know. So the buck on the corner, double, and I shot my buck literally 20 yards from where I shot my buck 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, both of them 40, 50 yards right off that corner.
Perfect.
You shot your buck just about as far as you can out of that stand.
Yeah, I would say that's about. Other than that spot right there, shooting just straight out in front of that stand, up in that little gap where that doe walked, that spooked.
Yeah.
Which is still maybe 200, 225 tops.
Yeah.
That's about as far as you can shoot, and I mean, we are covering a lot of ground right there.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I kept saying. Like, man, if anything comes through here, we're gonna be able to see it. And we were just talking about this of if we didn't have two guys in the stand, like that 8-pointer was only out for brief seconds. So you'd be blown away by how many deer you miss when you're out there by yourself.
Yeah.
You're looking one way, like you got that doe there, you're paying attention to her, and a buck slipping on the edge over there on the side.
I would say, because just with where my buck was, like, he would have probably been right at the end of the shooting window by the time I would have even seen him.
Yeah.
And that's even if I'm looking over there.
Yeah. I just had the right angle to say, hey, there's something. So we kind of were I was already prepared, and right when he came out, I was like, all right, good buck, and that gave us time to at least you get on him, and then me with the camera, you're trying to get the light and get on him, and he's 125, and you're zooming in, you're like, okay, I'm zoomed, now I got to get focused, and you're running 2.8 because it's 3.5 because it's still early, and trying to get that focus perfect. But yeah, just absolute perfect Missouri opener. Got him up top, cleaned them all up. They're in the back of the truck and coolers, and we're headed back to Illinois. Did want to touch on the CWD thing before we end here. In Missouri, the first 2 days of rifle season, if you're in a CWD county, you actually have to take them in basically like to a deer check station.
Yeah.
And they cut the lymph nodes out of these deer way up in the jaw or somewhere in the neck.
Top into the throat.
Yeah, and kind of a weird looking piece. I've never really noticed that.
Like a little nugget.
Yeah, like that little nugget in there, but they got guys that cut the lymph nodes out, and they don't do it for fawns, and they don't do it for deer you want to mount, but we're going to European mount both of these bucks, and we figured we'd give you the sample, and you get a certified number that says, hey, this is your sample. I bet you that is the number of deer, you think, for the county?
I would think so.
I'm 3,199. But
I think that was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know if that's the whatever it is, but anyways, you get a sample collection, you can actually go on there and check, and they'll actually call you if your deer has CWD, and then they break the counties down by little squares and write what square the deer come from and everything. So shout out to Missouri for doing that, and also shout out to Missouri for their damn app.
For their technology advancement.
The ease of use on the telecheck and stuff was just it was awesome, dude.
So on this app, you have a profile. You've already submitted your hunter safety course record. And then you just go on there and be like, all right, what do you want to hunt? It has the dates on there. It has the weapons you can use on there. And it's basically all the pertinent information, real short, quick. And you just buy the tag through the app. And then you have a profile on there. And then you say, okay, I have this tag. And then you notch it on the app. And then it says, okay, what did you kill? Did you kill an antlered buck, a doe? How many points? Is the circumference 1 inch above the base, 2.5 inches or greater?
Yeah,
and then you just notch it, and it says it's irreversible, and this tag is no longer valid. Boom, done.
Yeah, and then telecheck is what county, and you just it's all. I mean, we're from Illinois, where you still got to call in and
spend 10 minutes,
do the automated touch tone bullshit and buying tags. You got to drive somewhere, and we just finally got a website, and Missouri's got an app, and they got hell of people working at this telecheck play or this CWD place, because one deer had CWD in the county 3 years ago or something like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they take a really good pride in their whitetail, and they got really good numbers, and just excited to come back, and do it all over again. Big shout out to my grandpa and grandma. They have an absolute beautiful farm, guys. Like, if you think of like a beautiful southern Missouri, hedge tree, overgrown grass, cedars, like everything you would think a whitetail would love, food plots, like it's beautiful. And grandpa's in that mode where he just likes to take care of the deer and watch them and let them grow. And he was like, yep, a couple good bucks right here. He's seen what we, he'd probably shoot both of those.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, if they come out. So But just an awesome weekend, and bucked out again. I'm bucked out again. Homie's got another tag he's going to be filling soon, probably. Shotgun coming up next weekend, but
Hope so.
bucked out, and man, I don't know. I got buck tags. I got doe tags, I guess. I mean, I could shoot a gun, gun doe, but I don't know. I don't think I will. I got too much meat. I got a Missouri buck in the cooler right now riding home in the back. Yeah, we got a couple European mounts, and be able to look at those mounts and think about, every time we see that deer, about this hunt where we bucked out together 5 minutes on the corner.
The excitement for 10 minutes there of just absolute pure adrenaline rush.
It was like you were hunting 20 years ago, where like pretty much any solid buck's on the table. You don't know what's out there. You're just out there to literally have a good time. You kill, we're all jacked up, and then we're like, well, we'll just do the switcheroo, hang out for a couple hours, and then boom, another kill on a solid buck. Like, I don't know what else you could do. You could go down there and hold out and try to kill like a 130, it's like a 160 up home. How long does it take to hold out to kill a 150, 160?
Yeah.
How many 130s do you see before you see that, And it's all about the experience you want to have, and we just wanted to have a bang-up time, and that's exactly what we did. We were laughing, high-fiving. I was saying dumb stuff. I had a beanie on with an orange hat on top, just looking silly as hell out there. It was just an absolute blast, man, and I got 3 bucks. Homie's got 2 bucks on the year, working towards 3, so we said we were going to get 6 bucks, and we're almost coming through for you guys.
We're working on it.
Yeah. We're working on it, so hopefully we can have one more story to tell you guys before we wrap up the year here. But like always, we love you guys. If you haven't killed this season, keep grinding and just try to have some damn fun out there. This is what this hunt reminded me of. I told homie, I said, that is the funnest hunt that I've been on in a long time.
Yeah.
Where it wasn't like, there's no stress. There wasn't like the stress to kill. There wasn't stress to kill a certain buck. There wasn't a stress to do anything. It was just, hell, we'll just go down here, we'll hang out and hunt and see what happens. Enjoy watching deer and maybe get a shot,
I was saying, really, I think that's kind of the whole mantra we put on this season is just getting back to having fun because, 2 years of trying to chase Magnum and all
stressed
that
as hell
shit and making moves and overthinking it. And
you just think that you're not good. You're just an ass at hunting because you're putting so much pressure on yourself to kill a certain deer instead of just going out there and just sending it and having fun.
Right.
And I feel like when you do that, that's when shit connects for us. We just gotta, this sounds solid, let's do that instead of, trying to plan stuff out to a T. You can't do it out there. But our plan worked. Go to the corner, set where we had success in the past. And we said we needed a 10-minute hunt, and we had an hour and a half, but it was $2. I mean,
yeah,
you gotta vouch for that. Add a little time for
$2 in 10 minutes.
$2, yeah, $2 in 10 minutes is what we needed, but that's what we got. And then the next day we got to hang out with Grandpa and just kind of chill, and the whole rest of the day clean the deer and do the whole 9 and do a little shoot off on the hedge balls.
Yeah.
Both missed on that one. But it's hard to hit a head ball about 150 hanging from a tree.
It was out there.
He's out there, but 270 put in work. We put in work, and freezers are full and bucks on the wall. I don't know what else to say, but appreciate you guys listening. Try to have fun this season. Gun season hopefully in, or you're listening to this pretty far out, but hopefully it's in, and we are. You guys can have some fun, man. We should probably release this before gun season. We should release this next. Right off the rip.
All right.
Yeah. So enjoy your gun season. Have fun. Shoot what makes you happy. Try to do the right thing. Try to leave a legacy, and Whitetail Legacy is out.